Today we're going to be going over what I consider to be the top 5 best DLC defenders in Rainbow Six Siege. This list was actually really difficult to make because I consider most of the DLC defenders in this game to be pretty damn good. But regardless, I've narrowed it down to just 5 with 2 honourable mentions that we're going to get into now. The 2 honourable mentions that I've chosen are Maestro and Aruni. Now these 2 ops not being in the top 5 is not a reflection of the ops themselves, it's more of a reflection of the top 5 that I did choose. I think that you can get more value from the 5 that are in the top 5 list than you can from Aruni and Maestro, but that doesn't make them not good operators. Both Aruni's laser gates and Maestro's evil eyes are so powerful in the right situations, and both of the operators have rotational abilities as well, Maestro with the bailiff and Aruni with her literal fist. Both of these operators are very worthy of your renown, it's just I think that you can get more value from some of the operators that I'm going to talk about in the top 5 list later on. Speaking of the top 5 list, we're going to get straight into spot number 5, and that goes to Mozzie. Now Mozzie is one of the best intel operators in the game, since his gadget not only gives the defenders intel, it also denies intel from the attackers. Mozzie's pets can be used to gather intel by capturing drones and then using those drones throughout the round to gather intel, or they can be used as intel denial by placing them in places where you don't want to be droned out. The fact that his intel comes from drones as well means that he is able to move his cameras around the map, unlike Valkyrie and Maestro. And then when you combine that with the 2 great primary weapons that he has, granted the P10 Roni has seen better days, but still is a very good weapon, especially with the 1.5 scope, and the fact that he has a nitro cell, he just makes for a really good intel operator in any situation. Now we're going to move on down to the number 4 spot, which is going to Kaid. With the fact that Bandit isn't nearly as powerful as he used to be, and Mute can't deny a full wall anymore, Kaid is now definitely the best wall denial. More often than not, you can find a spot for your Electric Law where it won't be able to be hit by Callie's lever, meaning that it could stay up for the entire round so long as Thatcher's banned and Maverick doesn't find it. The ability to electrify walls through solid hard walls that can't be destroyed is far too powerful for me to not put him on this list. The fact that the Electric Laws are thrown allows for a lot of versatility and a lot of creativity when coming up with places where you want to hide the Electric Laws. That also makes him the only operator in the game that can reliably deny a hatch from getting opened. Now with such a strong ability, he does have a few drawbacks, the main one being that he is a 1 speed 3 health operator. Now since he's a defender, that isn't as detrimental as it would be if he was an attacker, cough cough, but it does make it a little harder for him to maneuver around the map safely. The other main drawback of Kaid is his weaponry. Now his AUG is fine by all means, but it isn't the best weapon in the game technically speaking, but it is passable and I quite enjoy it. But he also doesn't really have a very reliable pistol to fall back on, considering that one of his sidearms is a 6-shot revolver and the other one has a telescope mounted to it. The only other flaw of Kaid that I can think of is that he is banned relatively frequently, but in my opinion that's only a reflection of how powerful he actually is. Moving on down to the number 3 spot, we have Wamai. Wamai is in a similar boat to Kaid in that he basically does what one of the Pathfinder ops does, but he does it in a different way that makes him either better or worse depending on your perspective. In Wamai's case, it's obviously Jaeger. Now naturally, any operator with a projectile denial gadget is going to be high up on the rankings because that is such a powerful ability to have. Wamai's magnets are so powerful at protecting utility from grenades, or basically anything really. Wamai's magnets will even capture capital bolts, which even Jaeger can't do. And Wamai's magnets will generate over the course of a round similar to Legion's goo needles, and that's either a blessing or a curse depending on how you like to play. It means that you're going to have to be active throughout basically the entire round if you want to get the most out of Wamai, but considering the sheer versatility that you have with being able to throw these, as opposed to Jaeger having to place them on a flat surface manually, I think the trade-off with them having to generate over time is worth it. There isn't too much to say about his speed or his health considering that he is a 2-2 just like Jaeger, however he does differ in his loadout, in that Wamai's loadout is, in my opinion, far better than Jaeger's. The AUG is literally an attacker weapon on defense, so naturally it is pretty damn good, and the MP5K with a 1.5 is also pretty good as well as having the Keratos to fall back on, or Jaeger's pistol if he wanted to steal more from Jaeger. Overall, Wamai's a really well-rounded op. Next up in the number 2 spot, we have an operator that you probably thought was coming up on this list. It's Valkyrie. Similar to Mozzie and Maestro, she's also an intel op. The difference between her and Mozzie though is that she doesn't need to work to get her cameras. Mozzie needs to rely on an attacker droning into one of his pests before he can use any intel, but Valkyrie has all 3 of her cameras right at the start of the prep phase and can hide them basically wherever she wants. Valkyrie's black eyes are much quicker and easier to hide and position than Mozzie's drones are, and don't even compare to Maestro's cameras in which he has to place down manually on a flat surface. She is essentially the go-to intel operator, since her cameras can be so hard to get rid of if you place them in the right places. As well as that, she also comes with the MPX, which is a fine submachine gun if you can hit headshots with it, and And she also has the Desert Eagle, which is great for putting some small holes in walls and floors. Just like Muzzy, she also comes with a C4, which is great for some late round plant denial, and despite her cameras not being able to be put outside anymore, she's still a really great well-rounded operator, and one of the cheapest defenders as well. Her only real drawback is that she is banned quite a decent bit. And now, finally, in the number 1 spot, we have Mira. Probably a lot of people were expecting me to put Mira here because she is that good of an operator. Her gadget is quite possibly one of the most unique and influential gadgets in the entire game, and for that reason it would have been rude of me to not put her in the first spot. But much like all the other operators that I've mentioned, she does have a few drawbacks. The first of which being that, like Kaid, she is also a 3 health 1 speed. Given the nature of her gadget and the role that she plays throughout the game, it doesn't really make much difference though, considering that she's anchoring most of the time anyway. Speaking of that gadget, it's probably one of the most powerful pieces of utility in the entire defender roster. Just one of Mira's one-way windows can completely change the attacker's strat, since they see that and then have to adapt to it on the fly. She did however get a recent small nerf in that now the Mira windows can be meleeed and basically made obsolete, but so long as you're playing her right, then the attackers won't get a lot of opportunities to do that. Along with her crazy broken Mira windows, she also comes with the Vector SMG, which is possibly one of the fastest fire rate SMGs in the game, as well as the ability to make rotates with her secondary shotgun, and also a nitrocell to top things off. And when you put all of that together, that is the reason why Mira is in the top spot for the top 5 DLC defenders. With all of that said, if you did enjoy this video or if it helped you out, then please do remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video, it is greatly appreciated. And be sure to go and watch the top 5 DLC attackers video that I also did, which you can see on screen now or find in the description. Let me know if you disagree with any of the rankings that I made throughout this video in the comments down below. But that's it from me, I will catch you in the next video.